Zoey Greco, intuitive mentor, numerologist, and spiritual support system to women everywhere currently overthinking a text message.
Girl, just send it already.
She's been called too sensitive, too emotional, too much, and somehow turned it into a career.
God forbid women have hobbies.
Now she's helping you discover and develop your intuitive power to hop timelines into your dream life.
Higher Self Hotline. Oh, this one's for you.
From numerology forecasts to spiritual hot takes and definitely some oversharing, this is
Higher Self Hotline.
Your direct line to the divine. Hello, divine darlings, and welcome back to the Higher Self Hotline. I'm your host, Zoey Greco.
And I'm your co-yapper, Amelia Elsie Buxton.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And today is your favorite episode of the month. Maybe you have a different favorite, but it's definitely one of my favorites. And it is your August numerology forecast. We're going to talk all about the collective numerology of August. But before we do, as always, it's yap time. It's time for me and Amelia to check in about what's been going on for us in the month prior, how the numerology impacted us, and sort of the themes that we're going to be individually moving into next. And then we're going to get into the collective. So I have a lot to say, but I actually would love to start with you, Amelia. You are exiting a personal month 1 in July, stepping into a personal month 2 in August in your personal year 3. So just for anyone listening, Amelia's personal year 3 is all about creativity, expression, communication, visibility, charm, magnetism. And it is a number that is very popular. We all love a 3. We love 3 energy. But Amelia is writing a book in her year 3, which is right on schedule, as Amelia would say, because she's a Brit. So, exiting a month 1, the number of like new beginnings, initiations, fresh starts, individualism in July. Can you tell us, Amelia, a little bit about what happened for you in July?
Yes. It's interesting because I would say it wasn't until like the second week, like mid-July, that it really started to feel like a 1, because obviously we had spent time together in California at Disneyland. I was on that trip for a couple of weeks. I was still kind of like processing the breakdown of the would-be like will they, won't they situationship that just went to shit. We should call it situation shit.
Yes. Situation shit. Yeah.
Situation shit. And I was just getting this feeling of like not feeling myself, and I had put the book down for a month, like a good period of time, that did start to feel very much like very existential of like, oh my God, yeah, you see, you could never write the book. You were never going to do it. Like, that's it. You've put it down. You've let yourself get like, mad about a boy, and the boy didn't work out, all of these things. So there were a lot of like, the month started with me feeling very much not like a 1, but not like anything, just stuck. But then I went for lunch with a friend for her birthday, and as we were walking home, bit of context, the guy that I was dating lives 2 blocks away from me, which at the time I said is either a really good thing or a really bad thing. So every so often, I see him on the street, and as we're walking back from lunch, like we see him again holding hands with another woman, taking this other woman to his house. Like, it's crazy. And I was just about to have a therapy session, and me and because I know it's crazy, which, it didn't upset me, guys. Like I was moving on from this guy. I wasn't that bothered about it, but I was like, oh my God, I need to
it's
expel.
Confronting.
Yeah. I need to like expel this energy out. And my friend was saying like, you have therapy now, like maybe let this be the last time you talk about it, because I do therapy once a month, and but the last time I spoke to my therapist, there was just so much to update her on. So the reason I say that is because once I had that session, I said to my therapist, like, I want this to be the last time I talk about this, but I want to talk about it because I do think that there's maybe stuff that I've not told other people about how I really felt, all of this stuff. So I released all of that. That was like mid-July. And then the next day, energetically, I just shifted. I really just felt like myself again. I woke up early, wrote my book, like 5 a.m. baby, went for a walk, finished work early, had a really good like wash hair day. And then it felt like a 1. So I would say that my one didn't really come through until mid-July. I had to like really live and I guess be in the physical of just like the human experience. And then now I'm kind of moving like there's more momentum towards what I'm working towards now. Like I've cleared it. So it ended up feeling really good. It started feeling very lost and the thoughts were spiraling of like the way that my mind works, guys. This is how like, I don't know if anyone can relate to this. It's not just, oh, you haven't written your book for a month. It's, you haven't written your book. You're never going to write it. All of those viral posts mean nothing. Why would any clients want to work with you? Oh, in your family, you're going to let your family down. You're going to have to move home back to England. Fuck the apartment that you have and the life you built in Mexico. That's what was happening in my brain.
It's so interesting that all of those things were coming up for you during July, because actually I would almost expect for some of that to pop up for you in August, not because of your personal numerology, but because of the collective numerology. We're stepping into a collective month 9, which we're going to talk all about, and I have so much to say, but I find it really interesting that, first of all, the spiraling thoughts, right? Like it's like you start to pull the thread and all of a sudden the whole sweater comes undone. You're like, oh, it's all garbage and I'm garbage. Everything's garbage. And I also want to say too, I feel like just kind of knowing you, yes, you travel, you're, adventurous. And also I think like routine really serves you, and being away from home and traveling, like you didn't get back until a bit into July. So
the 6th.
yeah, like it takes some time to kind of reground and recenter into, your routines, your stability, your rituals. I actually, just before this conversation, recorded an episode that you guys won't hear for a little bit, but I just recorded a conversation with Tracy Stanley about living rituals and the importance of ritual in our life, which is actually something that Amelia, you yourself have brought up and talked about on this very segment. Like you've talked about the importance of like, your routine, your ritual. And I feel like coming out of it and like getting out of your little, flow can actually be super, super disruptive. And it can really pull us out of the timeline hop and the experience that we're having, where, you were living so firmly in the reality of like, I'm an author and I'm writing this book and I'm living this like this life of the authoress, and just like, really almost like basking and soaking in that journey itself, not just the destination. But when you're pulled out of the journey, it's so easy to lose sight of the journey itself, the momentum that you've gained, the steps that you've taken, the accomplishments you've gained. Like all of that seems to we lose perspective on it because it's just a little out of sight, out of mind. So lovingly, as your friend, I want to reflect to you that like I've watched you step right back into it. Like your content game is back on, like everything's back online. And I'm really seeing that there was sort of like a reinvigoration and a renewed energy toward it, but also, in the one, leaving some things behind so that you could really ground yourself in that energy, really embody it in a more like conscious, experiential way. So it makes a lot of sense to me. And also, I think those of us who are conscious and intuitive tend to live like a little bit in the future, like we can future cast really easily and feel into the vibrations that are coming. I always describe it. People are probably like, shut the fuck up. I always describe it as like an animal sensing an earthquake before it arrives. Like those of us that are intuitive, we just kind of feel the shifts before other people. So it also doesn't surprise me that there are things that were coming up, like preparing for the collective experience that we're going to be having in August, that were sort of showing up for you to work with. So all in all, I'm really happy for you. I'm happy for you as your friend that you got back in your flow, that you were able to like clear the energy, cut the cord to the situation shit, and just honestly like be back in you. And to me, it really is an opportunity of like, let's plug back in. Like whatever we started, now we're coming to it with like an almost not just reinvigorated, but like a fresh energy that you can only offer into what you're doing by having, the 6-7 months of experience prior that you're able to then bring into that, like in the present.
I agree. I think that what I have realized is that, you know, creativity is inherently feminine. And what's the feminine? She's seasonal. She isn't super rigid with her schedule. And as much as whenever I'm working with clients or when it comes to like working towards a goal, I have to turn on the masculine. But then if I'm turning on the masculine to reach a goal that's inherently based on feminine, like a feminine theme of creativity, I have learned that it's going to be seasonal and there are going to be moments of like, yeah, you're just not going to feel it. And that is why, you know, shout out to all the content creators who are consistent. This is no like slight to them, but it's one of the reasons why I never really want to become a professional content creator for this reason here is that there are going to be seasons when I don't want to do it. I want it to continue being a playground, but simultaneously, like, we want this first draft finished while I'm 30. I turned 31 October 19th. I'm on track. So this is my masculine switching on. Like that is a personal goal. I'm going to do it. But yeah, I've learned a lot about seasonality when it comes to projects and creativity.
Okay, I like literally got goosebumps all over when you were like, creativity is a woman. Like she's feminine and femininity moves in seasons. The other thing I would say too is I'm interested, like I totally get the shift into the masculine and kind of like the pursuant energy of masculinity. And at the same time, you are birthing, you're giving birth, which is feminine. You know what I mean? So it's like, what does the feminine do in preparation for birth? Like, to me, like, you know what I mean? Like there's something to it. And also like, I don't know, there's something about like the gestation period of this book and the time that you've poured into it and like letting it evolve and grow and become so that it can be born into the world. And honestly, that is a process that even before the book is done, I think you're actually going to be starting in August because August is a personal month too for you. Not only is it a personal month too, but it's a personal month too for you with master 11 undertones because when we add it together for you, it's an 11, which we then reduce to 2. But I personally like to count the undertones of master numbers everywhere that they appear because I do think they add some sort of like force. Like they add, like it's like there's this extra magical divine energy that if you know that it's there and you reach out to grab onto it, it does a lot for you. And 2 is the number of collaboration. It's also the number of the person who does things behind the scenes. And so I don't necessarily see that as applying to you individually, specifically, Amelia. I see this applying to you as like, maybe you're going to make a connection with a publisher or an agent or like something where it's a time of connection. And that only gets enhanced for you in September, the peak of your personal year, the month 3 in your year 3, which I'm excited for us to talk about next month. But those 2 numbers, I think, complement each other really well in sort of their sequence because 2 attracts collaboration. It's a number, it's very intuitive as well. It's a highly intuitive number, especially with the master number 11 undertones. 11 is one of the most intuitive numbers. 11, 2, and 7 are like the most intuitive numbers in numerology. If you disagree, come fight me. And I really see this idea of like you intuitively being led into the right spaces, the right rooms, the right connections, the right conversations, so that you can start to build the momentum of where the book is going to go once it, you know, is released from your hands. And I do think that like the connections that you need to make, the collaborations that will serve you are going to start to spark in August and forward, which is very exciting.
It is super exciting, especially because so in August, this coming month, I wanted to, with it being like a couple of months before my personal deadline to like finish this first draft, I really wanted to kind of get away from the city and go into nature. And I live in Mexico City, and about an hour away in the mountains, there's a place called Tepoztlan, and they call it a Puebla Mágica. It's like a magical town in Mexico. It's very spiritual, kind of like a spiritual vortex. And I'm going to be spending the month there. And so I'm going to be up in the mountains. I'm like taking a break from booze. Like I'm just going to be with myself and my creativity, but also with it being more of a spiritual space, I kind of just want to get deeper within myself and to connect with people there as well. So it feels very aligned. I'm very excited for that. And yeah.
I love that. And I feel like even the things we were talking about, like you being in your routine, being in your ritualization of your work and, you know, tending to your inner garden so that you can bloom flowers from without, like, or from within outwardly. I think that the idea of traveling can still support that. Like it, to me, it sounds like you're going on like, you know, a writer's expedition. Like you're going specifically, it's almost like it's very Walden. It's like going into this very specific space and experience to nourish the intentions that you have, not distract you from the intentions. It's almost like you're going more deeply into the work, which requires almost a little bit of like cocooning and isolation where, you know, maybe you don't have friends in that city. You don't have, you know, your local go-tos, your specific things that like might distract or pull your intention or your attention outward. It's like, it's all surrounding like the focus of what you're doing and what you're growing and what you're tending to. So I think that that's absolutely incredible. And I still firmly believe that like the right connections can be made and you never know how that's going to occur. That doesn't have to be physical. It can literally be like one of your posts goes viral again, because she's that bitch. And people see it and the right person sees it and they notice and they take note and they take like, you know, they come to attention, they stand to attention. And all of a sudden you're in a conversation that you weren't, you know, necessarily expecting to be in. So very exciting times for you. And I'm so thrilled because our next episode we filmed together, it sounds like you'll be in this other location. And so we're all going to get to see what life is like and check in with you and hear a little bit about like what you're moving through and experiencing while you're there.
Yeah. And I think as well, I'm being called to do somewhat of a medicine ceremony. I haven't done medicine like intense in a while. I just don't feel called to it, but there's just something about going to this place I've always wanted to go to and like writing my book where I'm like, oh yeah, I want to go deep. So I will reveal more if it comes.
I feel like you're such a strong example of someone who is like fully, deeply, profoundly committed to what you're doing. Like you are in no way half-assing this. And I think a lot of people write their book in sort of this like clandestine way where they're kind of like, you know, in the shadows after everyone in the house goes to bed or, you know, like where they can fit it in or squeeze it in. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's the life you're living and that's the way that you can pursue your dream, by all means, keep doing it. As long as you're in pursuit of that dream, we are cheering you on and we are celebrating every single thing that you do. And also, I think there is some extra oomph that gets added to that recipe. Like that extra ingredient really like packs a punch when you are just so profoundly committed. And like you have clients, you have a day job, not a day job. I mean, you work for yourself, but like you have another life, right? Like there's other things that you do and you're a busy, important person helping busy, important people like myself. That said, you know, there's also there's like two Amelias. There's the Amelia that's committed to her clients and that service. And then there's the Amelia that is like in full pursuit of Amelia's dreams and like what you are birthing into this world. And I love, love, love seeing that come online and stay online and watching you feed it and nourish it. Like it is so inspiring. And so if there's anyone out there that wants to write a book or create something or do something, please take a page out of Amelia's book, literally, figuratively, and but when you get her book, don't rip the pages out, just to say, you know, but be in deep pursuit, be in deep commitment to the things that are calling you from within and watch how that intentionality and attention that you pour into it really stokes that flame and that fire. I think that is just so admirable and inspiring. And it feels like it deserves to be like identified and spoken about and really like pointed to.
Thank you, Zoe. I always get blown away by how you see me and like the reflections you give. So that means a lot. I want to know about your month and what's coming for you though.
Oh, okay. So there was something really, really big and crazy that happened for me in July. But to be honest, guys, I'm saving it for Crybaby Club and the Let Me Ask My Psychic segment because that could be a whole episode in itself. And I really want to make sure that we talk about the collective numerology in this episode. So please, please, please stay tuned and come back and see us in 2 weeks so we can talk about that because that is a conversation I'm literally dying to have with you. And who knows, I may start to slip some of it out over Instagram or whatever. So if you're not following me over there, please come and follow. But What I can speak to and can speak about is that July was a personal month 6 for me. And 6 is the number of nurturing. It's the energy of compassion, heart-centeredness, vision, artistry, nesting, home, responsibility, obligation, relationship, community. There's a lot of themes that 6 hold. And I think that's because 6 is like the energy of the mother. And what does a mother not do? You know what I mean? Like, what job does not belong to the mother? So I feel like in the month of July, the thing that I felt in the most resonance with my individual numerology was the launching of the Bitching Hour, which we talked about last month. We announced, and it started in July, and that community grew so quickly. It grew honestly beyond my expectations for it. We had so many people on the initial call. We had so many people on the subsequent calls, so much more than, to be honest, like any startup community I've seen where it's like just, sprouting from the earth. Like Brittany and I are very aware that like it's just a newborn babe that we have to nurture and protect, which again, right? I'm nurturing something, I'm growing something. And it does have to do with responsibility and community, because I'm building a community that I am now responsible to and responsible for. And also, in that space, in those conversations, we're holding so much intentionality around like the deep pains and themes and joys that people are moving through and working through. And so, the ideas of connecting to community, the ideas of growing a community, being responsible for a community. Brittany and I had a really great conversation with George Poulos because he has had a free community space for a long time. And Brittany and I are just starting that journey. Obviously, like I've cultivated community with you guys over the years, but this is different. Like this is an active space every week where you can come and receive coaching and guidance. And like I'm literally working with you in real time for free. And I've never held something quite like that before. I attempted it like a year, like almost 2 years ago at this point. And boy, oh boy, that shit blew up in my face. I was so unprepared. And I was like, and I literally had to be like, hey guys, I gotta go. Never mind. Like I quit. So anyone that joined that community in 2024, I'm like, hey, not surprised, but it just wasn't the right timing and it wasn't the right execution. And so this time I wanted to have a conversation about like, how do you hold it? What do you do? And we had like some people who had like just a few people who had like come into the community, and we could tell maybe just like weren't using the space properly. And we never want to turn anyone away, or, if there's anyone that's vulnerable, we never want to like make them, endanger them further or whatever. And so we really were trying to figure out like exactly how do we hold something like that specifically. And we had this great conversation with George where he was saying like, your responsibility is less so to each specific individual person, but more so to the community itself, and like protecting the house that you've built and the people inside of it, and like the energy that permeates through that collective space. And that was a super, super helpful reflection. I feel like I got so much out of that conversation. And it really grounded me in like a new perspective of how to hold that responsibility and like who I'm responsible to and how I choose to be responsible, all very, very 6. And I've been building these individual relationships with the people that are showing up. And I've been also super interested to learn about how to attract people into that space. Like we had someone pop in on the very first call and came to the subsequent calls. I'm like, I already love her. And she was like, yeah, I literally just saw a video you posted about this. I have no idea who either of you are, but I just thought I should come. And the awareness of how magnetic a single invitation can be, like there was no part of me that expected that someone who didn't know who I was at all would want to join that experience or come. Like that was completely outside of my radar. But lo and behold, it was totally true. And the resonance was profound. She and I were born in the same place, now live in the same place, and have the same big 3. And I think even the same numerology.
Oh my
like,
God.
Yeah. I mean, not numerology. I mean, human design.
Whoa.
And so, Yeah. So it was like, whoa, magnetism. I learned a lot about like magnetism and resonance as a tool for building relationship and community as well. So really my whole July kind of revolved around the launching of the Bitching Hour and cultivating and curating and, you know, supporting that community, protecting it, fortifying it, and continuing to build it up. And then we obviously launched the Bitching Hour episodes that people can listen to as well. And so like the commingling of the communities, right? So like helping to bridge those communities and like make it feel as it's intended to be, like a natural evolution. Like we were thinking about how we eliminated is such a strong word. We ceased sharing, I don't know, the client sessions over here on the Higher Self Hotline. And I intuitively knew that that needed to happen when it was time to do so, but I had no concept of what would happen instead. It was never, ever on my radar that we would then take the Bitching Hour and sort of bring it into this space too. And it is such an obvious evolution for what those episodes have been and needed to become. So 6 also, I will say, and this is my last thing, 6 is also the number of vision. And it's the number of like aesthetic and creation and curation. Like 6 is a home number. It's like you build a home. And I feel like in all these places, I was building a home for the Bitching Hour. I was curating more deeply the home of the Higher Self Hotline. And also I spent the entire month on Zillow. Like, we should move. Like, I feel this sense of like, I know. Isn't that crazy?
Guys,
I know.
I need to interject.
Please.
I fucking love Zoe's house. I fucking love where Zoe lives. Like, I remember when I first went to Zoe's house, we all got high and then chilled in the pool watching Haunted Mansion. And at first we were like, oh, we'll have a dip in the pool and watch Haunted Mansion on the projector for a little bit. We watched that whole fucking film in the water, high as fuck. It was, I love where you live, but also, I mean, what is it not? What do you mean?
Yeah. That reminds me of that interview with Jennifer Lawrence. Where
Yeah, that's why I did it. What do you mean?
Yes. What do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah, that's exactly right. And you know what I found out? There is no place we could move that's like within our budget that's better than our house. So I did like leave that, you know, I left that behind. But I always have a sense when my environment needs to shift. So I'm currently in the process of redoing my office and turning it into like literally like a dressing room dream palace. Like I'm going crazy. It's going to look nothing like the rest of the house. It's going to literally be like, it's going to be tented. It's going to be like if Miss Piggy had a dressing room.
Oh my God.
Like, you know, it's going to be everything and more. So I've been working on that. And then I just sort of like turned that same attention into like, you know, it was like a nesting energy. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm not going to move, let's renew some of the energy in the home. So I've been like going around with like a little, like a list pointing to Ethan, like, we're going to change this. We got to change this. We got to change this. We got to do this. And he's like, whoa, slow down, cowboy. Like, you know, one thing at a time. But yeah, I think actually what I ended up deciding, so I love that you brought this forward, is that we're not going to move, but instead we're going to invest more deeply in the home we're in. When we moved into this house, we thought we would be here for about 5 years and then we would like build a custom home. But things have changed, intentions have changed. We've decided to allocate our resources elsewhere. And also I think give us a couple more years and we can build the dream home. So why not take our time? But it does mean we're going to be here for longer, which means I feel more comfortable like rooting in a little bit more deeply. And all of that is so incredibly 6. Like every single thing I just described couldn't have been more 6. That being said, I am moving into a personal month 7 this month in August. And I'm prepared for my shit to get rocked because essentially for every single person, your attitude number and your personal month are going to be the same. So you're getting kind of a double dose of this energy that kind of already exists within you.
I didn't know that your attitude number is the same as your...
Well, this month particularly, it's just the way the math happens. So for instance, like you're in attitude 11, which is why this is a personal month 11 too for you. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm an attitude 7. So I just finished the horoscopes for this month. They're going to come out in just a couple of days, guys. Please go read your horoscopes because not only do I slave over them, mama works hard for you, but also like understanding how the collective energy and your personal numerology is impacting you in a given season, in a given moment, is so important. Every single time that you guys read those and you write me DMs and you message me or you comment about like how it felt for you, or when I do the personal numerology of my clients, it's always like eerie and uncanny. It's so weird the way that like the timing works and shows up. That being said, as an attitude 7, I'm prone to a little analysis paralysis, shall we say, a little existential dread, a little bit of overthinking. And at the same time, 7 is the most intuitive number, one of the most intuitive numbers in numerology, with 2 and 11. And I find that like I'm feeling called into I'm feeling called into devotion to my intuitive practices and reminding myself all month that my intuitive sense is the greatest resource at my disposal. I don't have to know how. I don't have to know why. I just have to know what my conviction is, what my sense of something is, and follow that unwaveringly. So my intention for August is to really not allow myself to feel like I have to gather a butt ton of data points and to be externally focused for my answers or my solutions, but rather like really go into myself, really recommit to my journaling practice. It's gotten a little wavy with all the traveling and the big things I've been doing. So like, I really want to recommit to like the spaces I spend with myself, my own spiritual practices, and just really committing to like letting my intuition guide me this month and knowing that it is the most invaluable directions that I could follow. And so I'm going to see what that does for me by the end of the month. And next time we chat, I'm going to have some stuff to say about like how I've already been tapping into that energy. But because of that, I'm feeling tempted to take it one step further.
Oh my God. I was thinking as you were describing that, I was like, oh, Zoe never has someone else reading for her. She just got to read for herself. But then you started talking and I was like, oh no, bitch knows herself. She's got it. She doesn't need someone else to say it.
Often when I've sat to receive reading from other people, I haven't been impressed. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't been impressed. And maybe it's because I'm an attitude 7. And maybe it's because I know myself so well. And because I've been reading for myself my whole life. And like, there's not a single day of my entire life that I can recall that I'm not actively using my intuition, whether it's for myself or someone else. Like that is if it were an external muscle, I'd have an 8-pack on my intuition. Like I've put in the reps, honey. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's been important for me to not give that power away to somebody else so that I could understand the importance of holding that power, so that I could then teach other people the importance of holding that power. Like, honestly, if I never did another reading again in my life, I could be okay with that, because as long as I was spending my time helping other people do that for themselves, I would feel satisfied. Like, listen, I love to pull cards at pajama party. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Like it's fun. It's joyful. It's playful. It's girlhood. I love it. And also I want everyone to know that they can do that for themselves. And I feel like that's really the era I'm in. So I'm not feeling called to read for anyone but myself, but I'm feeling very called to support people in understanding that their own intuitive knowing is more powerful than what anyone else could provide to them, including yours truly.
Love it. We love it. Yeah. I also want to mention that like in July, I went to a friend's birthday like picnic in the park, and someone had like an extended tarot deck. And I love tarot. I'm like, tell me what's coming for me. And as I was shuffling them, there were like maybe 7 or 8 cards that spilled out. And my friend, who I then learned had trained in like reading tarot, I was like, oh, how do I choose which one? She was like, we're going to use them all. And she laid them all out, and it was like 7 cards. And as I laid them out and as we read through them, it mapped out the whole journey to my man.
My man.
I need to show you. That is what she said. I need to show you a picture because, oh my God, seeing that laid out. And I think that's one thing I always have about like any spiritual system, like numerology and astrology, all of that. I love having this information at my disposal. I love looking into it, but I also love not taking it too seriously and being like, tell me something fun I'm going to learn today, which is why sometimes I have tarot laid out on my coffee table every day. And sometimes I'll pull one and I'm like, nope, I won't take that.
I rebuke thee. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. And remind me, did you just say you pulled the cards for yourself in that practice?
So I was shuffling them, yeah. So it was my hand that touched them, but then it was her who was helping me, like, because I could kind of tell. I was like, I think it's this. And she was like, what were you thinking of? And I said, like, a message for love. And she went, oh my God. And she was like, this is it. But the problem with me is I'm like, okay, but how do I ask when? Like, when is that gonna...
And that's what numerology is for.
Exactly.
Helping you understand your timeline. I
know,
love
but
that.
fuck, I've got to wait till like a month 6 though, right? Until love comes into.
Yes and no. I mean, to be honest with you, like starting, especially in September, you're going to be so social and magnetic. Like maybe in October, you'll have head down a little bit. It's going to be a month 4 for you. So I won't be surprised. And plus it's your deadline for your book. So like, it wouldn't surprise me if like you don't even shower and you just like, you're just like nose to the grindstone. But in September, November, December, and then January and February, you're going to have a lot of very like social numbers and like a lot going on for you. So it really won't surprise me if like more connection, more community, and love in every form, including romance, befalls you during that season and during that time. Listeners, you're going to have to just tune in to find out. Tune into next episode to find out what happens in Amelia's love life. I love that.
I want to know what the collective numerology is though for August, baby.
I want to tell you what the collective numerology is for August. I'm extremely excited. So in August, we are stepping into a collective month 9. Now,
Woo.
I love that you're celebrating that because that's
like
not
a 9.
often.
You know what? It's
Tell me.
because my year 9, I don't know, the moment I learned about numerology, the personal years and like the universal years always resonated with me. And my 9 very much resonated. I was like ending with a previous client, like lots of things were ending. And I think I was also, I think my personal 9 was last year, and I think it's when my mum's okay, but she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So there was a lot of like contending with like endings of some description. So, and I
it wasn't last year because last year would have been a 2 for you. It would have been 2023. That was your personal year 9.
Yes, and oh my God, it sounds even worse that I'm saying this. It wasn't to do with my mum. I had a family member pass away during my personal year 9 and a client agreement ending. So, I mean, I'm smiling. It's nothing to smile about, but like it felt very resonant.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, 9 is about completion and ending. However, 9 is also the number of wisdom. It's the number of the humanitarian. It is the number of oneness. It's the number that recognizes we're not just the one. We are the collective. We are everything. And when we talk about completion or ending, we're not just speaking about death, although that is like the ultimate ending, or is it just the beginning of something else? But 9 is also about forgiveness, like the closure of things. And in a collective year 1, where everything is like new, fresh, beginning, I really think in August, the immaturity of 1 will feel very, what's the word I'm looking for, magnified. Like I think we'll become much more aware of it because when you're looking at like someone who's just starting something out and someone who's finishing it, they're 2 very different things, right? And even like the person you are at the inception of something is not the person you are at the completion. And so not only will I think like any layers of like arrogance or immaturity in the 1 be highlighted during August, I think we're also going to look at, the 7 months prior and say, what wisdom have I gained during this time that I can apply to what I am creating in the larger picture of my life? What am I taking with me and what am I choosing to no longer carry that no longer serves the vision and the mission that I am currently endeavoring? And I think for some of us, it may feel a little like frictional and contradictory because in the collective of what we're creating, starting new things, we're having this moment to pause and continue to release and let go. And I think after, a 9-year cycle, we're very eager to start something new. We're very eager to experience like fresh energy. And also, at the same time, sometimes when we're cleaning out our closet, we leave something in the corner, Like I just cleaned out my closet, literally. I just, like 2 weeks ago, cleaned out my closet, did a huge major clean out. I got rid of like 4 bags of stuff. RIP to my awesome cute shit. And I realized that like I had gone through my closet not long ago prior to that. And I was telling like some people in my life, they're like, you just did like a closet clean out. And I was like, yeah. And guess what? In the time since then and now, I haven't worn half the stuff. I haven't reached for it. There were things that I was hesitant to release then that I now know I'm ready to release. And so this is a time where you're either going to, it's like we've had this clean slate and all of a sudden someone's like, oh, you missed a spot. And you're like, fuck, like, what do you mean? And we might feel frustrated by that. But at the same time, I would rather take a second pass and really clean the slate and really give myself that fresh blank canvas and not let any residue of what has been sit on what is and what is trying to be. And so it's a time where, again, like the two forces may seem opposing and they will feel opposing if you don't lean into how the 9 serves you. But it's really so incredibly important to take that second pass and really not let anything from the past that we've chosen to either that we couldn't see at the time or that we couldn't face at the time. Because there's a difference, right? Like maybe I just didn't know that those things weren't going to serve me 6 months later. Or maybe I just couldn't face that they were things that I knew in my gut needed to be let go, that just weren't a part of who I'm becoming and who I am anymore. And there is a grief in that I think sometimes we resist. I was just talking to Tracy Stanley about like our collective terror of mortality. And like, we don't want to embrace conclusions. Like we just love an ending. I mean, we just love a beginning. We just love a beginning. We hate to see an ending coming. And I would argue that something cannot begin if something else does not end. So this is where we truly let that happen in the collective. And again, that could be like forgiveness, right? Is there a grudge that you've been carrying that's just weighing you down? And at the time that we're recording this, Mercury is retrograde. So trust me when I say like every time Merc goes retrograde, I find myself scrolling through my pictures on my phone and seeing old faces of people who aren't in the picture anymore and thinking, oh, should I reach out? And the second I go to do so, I see do not answer as the name on the person, And it's like, you know what? Maybe this is in the past for the best. Like maybe this is something that I should let be, let rest and not dig up this grave. So it's a time to not dig up any graves, but instead see if there's anything else that needs to be laid to rest.
Yeah, you made a really good point that I was going to raise about like we're so eager to get to the one, to the beginning, to the restart. I'm exactly the same. Like whether it be the start of the week, start of the month, I'm one of those people that's like, okay, like I'll start on Monday, but we can't expect for the one to be as potent and magical and amazing as we want it to be if we don't alchemize what we needed to in the 9 and what we needed to let go of, because all that's going to happen is if we start from the 1 with things that have been left unsaid, unhealed, like I'm not saying to go and heal your trauma all the way in a 9, but I am saying like, it's not a time to tell yourself, oh, I'll just start it when we get to the 1. No, you really have to set yourself up for success. Otherwise you're just going to carry it through. That is what's going to happen, and it's going to come up in a different form. So I have to remind myself of that. And I think that's why I embrace a 9, because I'm like, it is a chance to look at the last 9-month cycle and just see who I was at the start, what I want to carry through, what I want to leave behind. I like those opportunities, especially when they're circulating in the ether and in the cosmos. And it's like, this is the time to do it. So I'm here for the 9, guys. I'm smiling for the 9.
I think that's so courageous. I love that attitude. I think it's because again, like people fear it. People are so, whenever they see 9 starting to come up in their season, if they're coming upon a 9 season, whether it's personal month, personal year, collective energy, we resist because we don't like to say goodbye. We don't like to let a thing end. And I think to smile upon an ending, knowing that it is also the inception of something else, and embracing that like an ending is a part of a beginning, is a very inspired, admirable quality. So I love that you're going into this smiling, and everything you're sharing is just like absolutely hitting the nail on the head. The other thing that I kind of it's been coming to me is I have a strong feeling something is going to crumble this month on a collective scale, especially politically. I have a very strong sense. I know. And to be honest, so much shadow. I always described like the collective 9 as like shadow work for all of us. Like we're doing our collective shadow work. And this is a moment for us to look back and say, what of the shadow work was left undone? Like what were we afraid to face, or what were we unwilling to face, or what were we unable to face? What were we blind to? What couldn't we see? And I have a very strong sense that that there are going to be things that come to light that immediately almost like, no, don't just crumble, but turn to dust. I have this very strong sense. And it could be that there are literal deaths of leadership. It could be that there are deaths of systems, deaths of intentions. But it feels like there's something that's going to happen and this feels like so channeled, like it feels like it's coming through me. I feel like a responsibility to say this, which is maybe just the residue of the 6 that I'm coming out of. But I do feel like there's a responsibility to say, like, hold on to your horses, everybody, like batten down the hatches, because I feel like we're about to get shaken in a way that makes embracing the age of, evolved consciousness even more possible and attainable. It feels like a final veil of some sort is being lifted. So our eyes are going to be open, and it's like, oh, now we know what our deepest intentions need to be for, collective, sort of like focus on what we're building, what we're creating, what we're initiating together, because this is the beginning, not just of, a 9-year cycle for the collective, but we're in the larger midst of all these energetic transits, whether it's the fire horse or the phoenix or what have you, like in the age of Aquarius. Like we are in this time of deep, profound revolution, and we cannot experience revolution and evolution from things that we are unwilling to name and things that we're unwilling to point to. So I have a very strong feeling that this month is going to bring the demise, and I'm using that word intentionally, the complete deconstruction of something that must die. And so ding dong, the witch is dead is kind of the vibe I'm getting. It's like the munchkins are free, you know what I mean? Like that's the vibe I'm getting. And I'm very, very excited to see what it is. And maybe it will have already occurred, at the time of our next check-in for Crybaby Club. And maybe not. Maybe we'll have to wait a whole nother month to really talk about it.
Maybe we'll be crying about it. Maybe we'll be crying about it.
Maybe we'll be crying tears of joy. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, if you weren't intimidated by the 9 before, I bet you are now. No, but I know what you mean though. And I'm intrigued to see how that looks. I feel like something has been brewing in the collective since the start of this year, especially. So it does make sense. So it will be interesting to see what's going to happen.
I love that you use the word intimidated, because I feel like, to me, I'm kind of meeting that idea with the same like sly exhilaration that you're feeling toward like the 9, which is like, bring it on, baby. Like, let it fall, like let the bodies hit the floor. And I'm not actually speaking like literally, right? Like I'm not calling for anyone's death, but what I'm saying is like, let it end, like let it end, let it go. And it feels so exciting, because I feel like also in the year of the 9, we feel the pressure of having to let go. We feel the things that are dying, and we're still in the phase of grief where we might be bargaining, right? We might be like grappling and trying. We're far from acceptance. We're in grief. We're in denial. We're in bargaining, but we've not yet reached acceptance. And I feel like there's been enough space from that time and that work that we've done as a collective that now we've reached some acceptance, which makes that last little push feel more welcome and more desired. It's like there's a deeper acceptance for the process overall. And what it really reminds me of is like, as you watch an animal age, there's like, there were years and years and years and years and years where I would look at my dog Rebel in particular, because she's 13 currently, where I would be like, if you die, I will fucking lose my shit. Like, don't you ever dare leave me. You better learn to live to be 100 years old. And like, that's that, like I couldn't imagine life without her. And now I'm at this point where, and I don't want this to sound like cold or indifferent, because it's not. She's my child. Like, I'm obsessed with her. I love her. But there's a point at which I have to acknowledge that like her life cycle will come to an end. And there's like a point at which it would be selfish and completely self-focused to hold her in, a quality of life that isn't truly honoring all that she's lived and all that she's given me. And we're not at that point yet by any means. But what I mean is that like 13 years in, I'm finally getting to the place where I'm like, oh, I'm going to cry though, obviously. I should have saved this for Crybaby Club. When it's time to let go, I will do that out of love. I will do that out of love. I will do that with courage. I will do that out of gratitude. She's going to have a ceremony. Like, I've already designed it in my mind. Like, I'm going to build a bed of flowers. We're going to have someone come to the house. Like, we're going to have a full ceremony for her. And because she deserves it, right? And so I would also, invite each of us to consider, is there a funeral, an overdue funeral, right, that we need to hold? Or is there a way that we can ceremonialize or ritualize, the passing of time, or the passing of a life, or the passing of an experience, or the passing of an era, in a way that honors and celebrates it, rather than just simply mourns it alone? Because I think there's power in both. Right? We have to mourn, we have to grieve, and also we can celebrate. And I think that that's one of the things we're going to be doing too. That's only possible through the space, the room, the little breather we've gotten to focus elsewhere. And now, through the maturity of 9, we can face those things with, courage of heart.
I really love that you shared that, because I relate a lot to that. As I mentioned before, last year my mum was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it's okay. She's fine now, as fine as she can be, having go through that. But obviously me and my family, and like me on an individual level, had to contend with the fact of mortality. Like, people are going to die. And I'm like, oh my God, my mom's going to die. Like, no, because in my brain, I'm like, you get cancer, you die. That's how it works. And so in that moment, prior to last year, on the same day that I found out about my mum's diagnosis, I found out that I got this apartment that I'm living in now. And so many things had to go right in order for me to get this apartment halfway across the world away from family. And prior to last year, I could not even fathom how I could go on with life if any of what I called the big 4, meaning mum, dad, sister, and my nephew, if any of them went, like, I could not fathom how I would ever function. But to your point, something happened last year, and I think it comes from building a life for yourself beyond, I'm trying to find the right way to word this, so feel free to step in, Zoe. It's like building a life beyond the, I guess, maybe the codependent,
relationships.
Like the codependent relationship may helped me to arrive at this place of like, no, I do not want my mum to die ever in this lifetime. And also, I believe I'd be okay. And even saying that out loud, I'm like, don't test me, bitch. Like, universe.
Yeah. You're like, from my lips to nobody's ears. Like, nobody. But I totally know what you're saying. And when I was a child, like a very little child, I used to beg my mom to never die. And I would say, if you die, take me with you. I'd be like, yeah. If you die, like, take me. Or I would say, like, if I die, you have to come with me. Like, I just couldn't imagine being without her. And no shade to my dad. Love my dad. Dad, if you're listening, love you. I would love to be in eternity with you as well. But there was just this thing, like the idea of that, it was so painful. And, you know, I'm 35, the same age my mom was when she had me. My mom is now 70. And I'm watching my parents age. Oh, I'm going to cry. That's fine. I've been crying all day. I'm good with it. I've been watching my parents age and understanding that like there is an era of their vitality and independence and ability that's past its peak and is now in the stage of dwindling. And yeah, like there's this, it's like we have our whole lives technically to say goodbye, you know, as long as it lasts, we have that whole time. And we spend so much of our lives like wanting to grip it so tightly that it can never go. But like, I think the lesson of humanity and like the human experience is the impermanence of it, you know? And so in the same way that like our loved ones die, our pets die, we ourselves eventually die. Also within a single lifetime, we die and are reborn over and over and over again, like constantly. And even on a cellular level, every 7 years, we're completely a new being on a cellular level. Like it's not just physical and it's metaphysical and physical. It's both. And so building a relationship to that, I think, is extraordinarily important. And you're right. Like in some ways it takes those experiences to kind of come to that realization. We have to face the thing we're so fearful of to understand that like the fear was the thing that was controlling us all along, not the actual experience. I also just want to say briefly that having also had a mom who has been diagnosed with actually terminal cancer and outlived her diagnosis, being there for you in the ways that I could or the ways that like you would allow was so important to me. And I just want to say like, I love you. And I feel like, you know, getting that news and having that experience is, it's like one of the hardest things I think a person can go through. And I watched you hold that with so much grace and so much honesty and so much openness in a way that like, I hope you never look back at that time and feel hard on yourself for like how you held it or what you could hold, because I was amazed by you in that era of your life and that experience. And I love you so much. And I'm so grateful every day that your mom is well and with us. And we're going to cherish her and celebrate her life every day that she's here and every day after.
I love you too. I'll never forget like the voice notes that you sent. And also something that I really valued is that, you know, there's friends that I have who are Catholic, there's friends who are spiritual. They have all of these different beliefs. And how do I want to word this? Like when you told me, I truly believe your mum is going to be okay. Like I felt it in my bones that it was truth because I know how committed to you are to your spirituality. And I know that those words hold weight. Just like when I would speak to someone that would say, I'm going to pray. And even if that doesn't align with me, I'm like, thank you so much because I know how important that is to you. And yeah, I feel emotional too.
Me too. I mean, I truly did feel it from the start. Like as soon as you told me, I was like, it arrived in me like she will be fine. And it's a scary and a dangerous thing to tell somebody when their loved one is unwell, you know, like you don't want to make them a false promise, but like I just felt so compelled. Like spirit told me like, tell her, assure her, like let her know that this is the path. And I just felt it in my bones. And I'm so grateful that it is true, you know, like I'm so grateful that spirit spoke the truth. And I'm so grateful I had the chance to share that with you because I just love you so much. So, wow, big feels. I can't wait to come visit you later this year. I'm so looking forward to it. We're going to have such a good time. Guys, prepare for so much. Like we're going to for sure have to record an episode when we're together. No question. In person. And get ready for all the food pictures because Amelia's constantly teasing me with like just absolute food porn. So I'm so excited to go and eat my way through Mexico City.
Yes, bitch. We're going to eat so much. We're going to, we're going to have a great time.
I love that. Well, Amelia, any last words for the peeps for this collective numerology forecast and read? Anything you want to leave the people with?
I'm just going to say lean in, guys. Whatever 9 is going to bring for you, lean the fuck in because you can't expect to start a 1 if you know that there are things left undone from the 9. So lean in, take care of yourself, give yourself grace, give yourself love, speak to the people you want to speak to, do the things you need to do, and just trust that you got it, because you have. I believe it.
I don't think there's a single thing I could add to that. I will just say, if you want to understand more about how this personally impacts you, go to zoegreco.com. I've got your horoscopes up. I've got reports I write literally just for you. We explore your personhood, like your personality. We can explore your compatibility. We can explore your year, month by month, day by day. We can get into the minutia of this in a really profound way. So don't hesitate to pop over there and get your horoscopes for free. Get your numerology reports. They're like dirt cheap, you guys. I'm so committed to you knowing what is going on for you that I'm willing to almost give it away. I can't completely give it away, but I'm doing the best I can. But I want you guys to be able to tap into what's happening for you. And there you have it, blessed babes. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode. And I would love if we could take a moment to send this week's subject, you, the listener, some love, sweetness, and positivity as we continue to allow ourselves to lean into letting go so that we can be truly reborn in an untainted energy. And if you're interested in connecting with us on socials, you can find me over at the Zoey Greco anywhere you're connected, and find Amelia at the Velvet Page. If you want to send us your questions, your listener questions, go to zoegreco.com/hotline. You can send us emails at podcast@zoegreco.com. Am I giving you enough ways to connect? Come to the bitching hour. Come talk to us. Come to pajama party. Come and hang out with us everywhere we like to be. We're everywhere you like to hang, and we're excited to create spaces to inhabit together. And of course, I want to conclude by reminding you that you are important, you matter, and you are perfect exactly as you are. I love you, your spirit guides love you, Amelia loves you, and the universe loves you. So until next time, keep answering the call of your higher self. Bye, friends.